boxing got me high. Like, I didn't have to do drugs. Literally, to this day, fitness gets me high. Like, it's just integral to how I feel good, how I feel complete. Do you want to grow old and healthy, or do you want to get old and decrepit? Those are your two choices. And if you want to get old and healthy, you got to move.
Before we get into this week's episode of the Calgary Sessions, I want to quickly talk about the new studio that we're filming in. It's called Offset Studios. It's a 3,000 square foot facility with 4 unique sets inside of it. We produce podcasts, corporate talking heads, fireside chats. We also do headshots, product shots. If you want to learn more about it, you can check out offsetstudios.ca. Now, let's get into the show. Welcome to the Calgary Sessions. This is episode number 191. I'm your host, Jeff Humphreys. Before I get into it today, if you could subscribe to the show if you like it, I'd appreciate it. Today's guest, there is a bunch of different ways to intro this. Jill McDonough was very quick. I'm good friends with her son, Jackson. She's like, you got to talk to Pete. I was like, I know of Pete.
I've heard that name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you and I crossed paths at Pro Bodies.
Oh, cool.
So I trained there from, I don't know, it's like 2011, 12, 13, 14 in there. And so my first Pete sighting was at Pro Bodies. And I'm just like, trying to do my thing, get my fat ass in shape. And I see you walk in there. And you're there like every day. I'm there like 6 a.m. early. And I see you there. You're rocking jeans, loafers, and like a cut-off shirt. And you're training people in Pro Bodies. And that was the first time I ever saw you. I'm like, what is this guy about? So that was like...
There's a workout outfit, yeah.
And so I was like, that's when we first crossed paths. So when you're asking me outside, and I said it, that's what it was.
Cool. So you saw me at my best.
Yeah, you're at your peak.
Okay.
So please name and who you are.
Pete Estabrooks, the fitness guy.
You've been at this for a long time. You've been around Calgary for a long time. When Jill said I should get you on the show, I was like, oh, that'll be very interesting. So sorry it took me so long. I'm pumped you're here.
I made the top 200.
You are in a special category now. So the gist of the show is I like the guests to kind of go back as far as they want to go. Where they grew up, how they grew up, parents, siblings, jobs, interests. And then we kind of walk this path to where you are today. So the idea is to go back as... I know we're on the clock.
You don't have that much time.
We're on the clock, so it's going to be, we'll get a great version out of you, but that's what the idea of the show is. So it's like a big, long story arc.
Yeah, cool.
So take this thing back as far as you want to go, and we'll kind of work our way to where you are.
Born in Montreal in 1959. My dad was at the time he was a steel worker, and my mom was a mom. That's what they did back then.
Yeah.
And my dad liked to move around a lot. Like, my dad was an inspiration for me. He liked to move, very independent guy. So born in Montreal, lived in Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie, Wawa, Timmins, White River, and Calgary by the time I was 8.
8?
Yeah. So, during that time, my dad went back to university, Utah State, BYU, and got a degree in geology. So I became a geologist. And then we moved to Calgary because he was a mineral geologist. So that was the first time I moved to Calgary. We were here for 3 or 4 years, and then my dad got a job offer in Australia. So by that time, I think there were 5 or 6 kids by then, at least 5. So while my dad was at BYU, he adopted the Mormon religion. So that's what you did, man. Just popped out kids. Believed in God and popped out kids. It was a good thing. He was a good man. It really worked well for him. Okay, if we're doing everything, because his mom and dad were where I got my rock and roll genes. They were alcoholics and went hard. And I think his adoption of the Mormon religion gave him some structure and took him away from alcohol and that kind of thing. So it worked out really well for him. I mean, it was good for him, for his head anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, moved to Calgary, and then we moved to Australia for 2 years. Like I said, he very independent, had a job offer, packed up like a billion kids, and off we went. And then came back to Calgary 2 years later. It must have been around 13 by that point. And then I've lived here ever since. I lived in Munich, Germany for a couple of years teaching aerobics at one point, but came back to Calgary. So I call Calgary home.
Why'd you guys bounce around so much? What was your dad's job back then when you moved to all those like 5 different places
Well, he was
before
a
8?
steel worker at that point, so he was just hustling, making money. And hence, big places like Sudbury, Wawa, Timmins, like, just all the rock shops. But like he was just a goer. Do you know what I mean? Like if someone gave him an opportunity, he went for it, and I like that.
Yeah. As a youngster, you got a bunch of siblings.
Yeah.
What were you interested in? Like when you bounced around that often, was it like was sport beside you? Was it school?
Well,
was it like trying to?
Because my dad had so many kids, like my only way to really get any attention from him, like his favorite sport was boxing. So I took up boxing. Like I started boxing. I can't remember how old I was when I started boxing. That's how long ago it was. But whenever we'd moved to a new place, including Calgary and Australia, the first thing he'd do is he'd grab me to go to the local boxing club. And he'd say, this kid wants to fight. Like, throw him in there. Let's see what he's got. So boxing was a big thing for me when I was a kid. And I'm a Canadian kid, so I played hockey all the time. And my dad coached us playing hockey at the Banff Trail Community Center. Outdoor rinks, -30. That was old school.
Crazy. What was it about boxing? Was it just because your dad loved it so much, or like did you actually enjoy it?
Initially, it was because my dad loved it so much. I mean, I just wanted some attention.
Yeah.
And then once I started boxing, I love the cacophony of a fight. I like the fear and the adrenaline, and I like to fight. I mean, I like to fight. I enjoyed that process for years. Like I did it as a kid, and then I had a spell in my life where I was not boxing, and probably quit at about 15, and then went back. And we'll probably get to this story, but I went to jail at one point and came out, and the first thing I did, the first day I was at a jail, is I went to a place called the National Fitness Center, which eventually evolved to become the Calgary Boxing Club.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was, so today I still teach. I hold hand pads and, help the Calgary Boxing Club coach kids, and the gym that I currently run, I leased big. It's 10,000 square feet, but I leased it that big so that I could house the Calgary Boxing Club in half of it. So it's kind of a big, like a full circle thing. Like I went, like I said, the first time I went to the Calgary Boxing Club, it would have been 46 years ago.
Crazy.
And while I was there, I mean, it just such a cool environment. It was just young, full of piss and vinegar, and loved to fight. And back in the day, boxing was less technical and more brutal than it is now in terms of how you learned to box. Was you got in the ring and you fought. And I mean, at that time, I was a whopping, 120 pounds, and there was no weight division sparring because I ended up getting pretty good, so I could only fight guys who really knew how to box. So at the National Fitness Center, there were 3 or 4 national champions, different weight classes, and every day was get in the ring, go to war. And anyway, the reason I got to that part of the story is one of the fighters there was a guy named Terry Coveney, and was a friend of mine at the time. But Terry he is now the head coach of the Calgary Boxing Club. So when I got this last gym a couple of years ago and got the Calgary Boxing Club in, it really just kind of pulled a really huge full circle thing for me.
So cool.
Yeah.
Junior high school. What kind of had your attention? What were you into? What were you up to?
Up until I was 15, a model child, Mormon kid, seminary in the morning, church, Sunday. Like Mormons go to church all the time. So yeah, I was a good kid. I was a good Mormon kid, and then I used to work bush camps for my dad in the summertime. Like we'd go. I started when I was, I think, 12 or 13 was the first year that we went up north. So you'd either work, in northern Saskatchewan, Northwest Territories, northern BC, and so we'd go. So that was my job as a kid, and I was my dad's oldest son. So I was the only one who ever did it. But we'd fly into a camp, and you'd be there for 4 to 8 weeks, and cut line and take soil samples and carry rocks and like just super cool stuff. So I did that 13, 14. And the year when I was 15, I'm a kid at camp, right? And there's geologists, like the older guys, my dad, and he'd have a couple of geologists who, in my opinion, were like ancient, the same age as my father, which at the time might have been his 40s, right? But I was a kid, and I was really the only kid on site at these camps, except for 1 year. And there was a cook at the camp, and he used to, pretty cool guy, listened to music, and he took care of the camp. Yeah. He was a cook, but he, managed the camp as well. And about halfway through the summer, like there's shit to do when you're working up north, right? Well, you're tired for starters. Get up when the sun rises, go do whatever you're gonna do, and then come back, have dinner, and the old men go to their tent, and at 15, it's like I want to do something. So anyway, I ended up hanging out with the cook, and about halfway through the summer, he's like, "Did you ever smoke dope?" And I was like, "No, of course not." And he's like, "Do you want to try?" And I was like, "Nah." That night. And then a couple nights later, I was like, "Okay, let's just see what it's like." And smoked dope, really liked it. And at the end of that summer, it's a big story, you don't mind. So at the end of that summer, I was 15, so because I worked all summer, my summer vacation was I'd asked my dad, we were working in Atlin, BC, so the float plane would take you back out to Whitehorse, and I said, "Can I hitchhike from Whitehorse to Haines, Alaska, and catch the ferry and go down to Vancouver, and then I'll take a Greyhound bus and come home?" My dad thought, "Yeah, that's a cool idea. You can do that." Can you imagine? Anyway, but that was a different time, right? And didn't even think twice about it. So this cook said, well, they told him my plans and stuff, and he goes, "Hey, well, if you're going down anyway, and I was going to hitchhike back from Vancouver to Calgary, because hitchhiking was a thing then, right? Like I hitchhiked from Whitehorse to Haines, Alaska, and to Haines Junction where you caught the ferry. Like 15 years old, just a kid, like no brains whatsoever. And so the cook said, I got a buddy in Vancouver. I got a buddy in Victoria who needs, who's moving to my place. And, if you could pick up the speakers and stuff and take the Greyhound, and I'll pay for your ticket. You don't have to hitchhike. And I was like, cool idea. And so hitchhiked Whitehorse, Haines, Alaska to Haines Junction, got in the ferry and went to Victoria, and which was an epic trip, like just amazing. And to be 15 and alone to do all that stuff, it was just amazing. And then anyway, I got down to this place in Victoria. Guy picked me up, took me to his house, and smoked a few joints. And "Do you drink?" And I was like, "No, I don't drink." and I didn't drink. So I just smoked dope, and so I thought it was okay. And took me to the Greyhound bus stop the next morning. Took a Greyhound bus, Calgary, the milk run from Victoria to Calgary. So probably took me 24 hours or something, and got to the Greyhound bus station in Calgary, and Evan was there. Probably shouldn't use names, but anyway, this guy was there, picked me up, and he lived in Brentwood, northwest Calgary, where I grew up, and so he said, cool, took the good to see you, come on in, we'll smoke a joint, I'll take you home. And it's like, awesome, that'd be great. Helped him pull in the speakers and stuff, and then he opens these cardboard boxes and he pulls out like a can, bigger than that, but a can. And it's like, it took me a second to compute. Then that's not, totally not speakers. And he's like, and I was like, so what? What is that? And he just goes, well, and you just brought me 64 pounds of hash oil. And I was like, fuck, that's wild. And he goes, for doing that, you get a pound. And I've smoked dope a few times in my life. No idea what is a pound of hash oil? What does that mean? I've only smoked marijuana joints. And he goes, okay, well, here's the math. He said, a pound is 16 ounces, and in every ounce there's 30 grams. And I'm like, even then I was like, no, I think their ounces are 28 grams. He's like, no, there's 30 grams in an ounce. And so you have to cut this down, and you have to put it in vials, and every gram you sell for $35. I was like, and I clueless, just totally and he goes, okay, I'm going to help you out this first bit. So sat down, and he had a system, and we cut an ounce of hash oil into grams, and 30 grams an ounce. Not legit, but I wasn't going to question. And at any rate, he said, I'm going to keep this here. And when you sell all those, you come back and we'll do another ounce. We'll do another ounce, and we'll figure it out, because, that's what we'll do. So, and I was just starting high school at William Aberhart High School, and went and I mean, I didn't really have people that I knew and stuff. I was just a friendly kid, and so I said, well, how do you do it? And he goes, just go to the back of the school, by, the bike racks or the garbage bins, and just check out who's hanging out back there, and do that. He said, this week, just go back there and just say hi to people, and, and get a sense of who's back there. And I was like, okay. I had a real mentor in Evan. And so I did that, and then started selling dope at the back of William Aberhart High School, and it sold a lot. You know what I mean? I was just, well, I mean, it was a well-priced product at a time when there wasn't that much of that product around. Yeah. Literally, guys were coming over from St. Francis, guys were coming from Churchill, just kind of got a name. You know what I mean? You want some good hash oil? This is where you're gonna come to Aberhart. Just go in the back, look for the short guy. And at the time, I was a nice Mormon kid, had short hair, and I was into boxing and that, and then I was accumulating a shit ton of money in my sock drawer, right? Just fun. And then and I started smoking dope, and doing other drugs, and I'd said to Heaven, okay, this is so awesome. So I'm quit. I have so much money, I'm quitting school. And he's like, no, you're not. He said, he said, you can't quit school and then go to school and sell drugs. He said, you can't do that. That's how you get arrested. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went to school and sold drugs, and then I was having not trouble at home, but I didn't want to go to church. I didn't want to, and And so I said to Evan, can I move into your house? And he's like, absolutely not. But I can get you a house. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, well, we can rent a place. I think back then it might have been $500 a month for renting a house in Brentwood. So he went and rented a house in Brentwood. And he said, now you have a house. It's like, fuck, that's awesome. And, and I'd met some other, I had accumulated a group of friends who I hadn't had before. And one of them in particular was a favorite, and he was a super cool kid. And actually what had happened was how I met him was I had sold some drugs to a couple of guys, and they weren't paying me. And this guy was pretty big. And I said, like, I don't want the hassle. I said, if you can go get the money from Doug, you can have half of it. And he's like, pfft. I told him that before lunchtime. By the end of lunchtime, I had my money, and I had a new friend. And I had a new friend, right? And then we just started hanging out together. And I told him, well, I got a house. And his dad at the time was a bartender at the Highlander, and when I tell this story now, it makes no sense whatsoever. Just so you know, but at 50, so I eventually just moved out of my parents' house. Didn't say anything, didn't have a confrontation, didn't do anything. I just wasn't there anymore. And then, and my friend, and I call him Bob. He's like, okay, so and Bob, his dad was a bartender at the Highlander, and his mom liked bikers. So he eventually just stopped going to their house as well. And so we had a house in Bowness, or not in Bowness, in Brentwood. And so that was when I was 15 going on 16. And that house was just a rock and roll. Like, it was just so awesome. So much fun. But at any rate, so, and everything was going like I mean, it was super weird if you look at it, like, because I have kids now, and there's no way on God's green earth that one of my kids, like, when they were growing up, would move away from my house and I wouldn't track them down. But I figured they were Mormon. They had lots. They could spare one. Anyway, like, I went to the same high school as my sister. But I was obviously pretty alienated from that whole side. And so.
Were you just in it? Like, it's a wild experience, right?
Oh, yeah.
Was it just like.
Yeah, you're just living it. You're not thinking that it's a wild experience. You're not thinking you're not even thinking this is unusual.
Yeah.
This is just life.
Yeah.
I go to school. And I went to school all the time.
You got, like, marks? Like, you kind of did?
Oh, like, fuck, I think I had a 38% average in high school. But
you'd walk in the door.
But I was rarely absent from school, you know what I mean? And the teachers all liked me, and it was quite, and I think everybody had a sense of what was going on as far as the teachers. And because, because obviously there are times when I would be hungover, drugged over, because I didn't drink much, but we did a lot of acid and a lot of mushrooms and a lot of mescaline, and we drank mostly to go back to sleep, right? Like, because at the end of the night, it's like, God, I gotta stop this.
I'm tired.
Yeah, and so anyway, went through a couple years of high school like that, and then one night. You sell drugs to guys, and so our house was the house.
Yeah, for sure.
And a guy came over one night, and said, I want a quarter ounce. I can't even remember what we were selling. I think it was Coke at the time. I want a quarter. It was a quarter ounce of something. I think it was Coke, because it was. And this is ridiculous too. It was like $700, and. I was like, sure. And he's like, can you front it to me? It's like, Mike, I can't do that,
It's bad business.
Because that never comes back without a hassle. And he was like, I get it. And he left, and he came back an hour later, he said, like, I want a quarter ounce. And it was like, we just talked. We just talked. And he goes, yeah. And he pulls out a paper bag and pours a bunch of money onto the table and says, count 700, keep it. The rest mine. I was like, cool. It's like fucking A. Took the money. I was like, how did you do that? And he goes, well, I just went and robbed a store. We're like, what? And so at the time, there was probably 8 or 9 guys in the house, and snorting coke, like really good for sane decisions, right? And so Mike tells us this story about going to rob a store, and we're like, fuck, that's awesome. We should do that.
Quick cash.
Yeah, we should do. Well, it was more the adventure, right? I wasn't, because I mean, cash wasn't a driving. To this day, cash is not a driving motive for me. But it was like, holy fuck, how did you? So it was like, okay, I'm going to a gas station. Bob is going to I think the corner store, and then there was a couple other guys that they teamed up together, and like we were
empties.
yeah, we were like, we're just young thugs, like, and because we sold drugs, we had like fake guns, like starter pistols. I had a well, not a fake, but I had a sawed-off shotgun that was not loaded, and but I took it anyway, and stuffed it down the arm of my big down jacket at the time, like welcome to Canada. Put my hair in a cap and went to a gas station and robbed it. Some poor kid that I robbed, and then went back home. And within half an hour, everybody else was back, and we just had like a ton of cash and a bunch of stories, and we were all laughed. This is fucking so fun, and that was that. So then the next night. So the next night, we're doing mescaline. Like this, like, think about it. And like you had mentioned earlier, when I tell the story now, it seems like that's just crazy. But at the time, it wasn't crazy. It was just Thursday. Yeah. You know what I mean? This is just what we do. And all this time, Bob had been mentoring me, right? Like when you're buying more drugs and bigger drugs, and what kind of drugs, and how do you separate them? How do you sell them? What who do you meet with? And so we had a pretty good business model as far as drugs went, and we, and again, we never, he was like, you can't use a lot of drugs. He said, like, hard drugs 4 nights a week max. It's like, okay.
There's some rules around this.
There's some rules. And we followed them. And so then the next night, we're doing a bunch of mescaline at our place. And I had another friend came over. And there was another group of guys, not quite as big a group. And this name, Mark, was one of my best friends. And Mark's passed away, so I can use his name and not feel bad about it. Anyway, we were like high like kites, telling the story about what we had done the night before to a bunch of new guys. It was just me and my friend who lived there, telling the story to a bunch. And so, of course, everybody's all lit up. It's a different kind of lit up, a little spacier, right? And let's do that. Let's do that. So again, I think this night, like the night before, there were 4 groups that went out, and this night there were 3. And Mark had said to me, like, I'm not doing that by myself. And I was like, well, I did it by myself last night. This is how I did it, and told him like, how the plan was like we had, take a $20 bill. You buy something, put the bill down. As soon as they open the till, you pull out. And the second night, we had a little starter pistol. But it looked very authentic. And it was Mark's night. It's like, okay, you're going to have this. I'm going to put down an Henry on the counter. I'm going to be $20. As soon as he opens the till, excuse me, you're going to yell. You're going to do. I gave him the script. This is what worked for me yesterday, and so sure enough, chocolate bar on the counter, $20 bill on the counter. Till opens up, and a smaller Oriental gentleman who owned the store, And as soon as he opens the till, Mark pulls out the gun and yells at him, give me all your fucking money, blah, blah, blah. And high, like that picture on the wall, that's how high it was. and anyway, so I'm watching this, and the gentleman reaches across the counter and he grabs the gun. So Mark's holding the gun, and this gentleman's got the gun, and they're going back and forth and back and forth. And it's like, fuck me, this is wild. And old boxing habit, right? So I just leaned back and I just like smoked this poor gentleman. And he goes flying back behind the counter. And then all of a sudden he's up again. But this time he's holding the gun. And I'm like, I'm the fuck out of here. And I run to the door. And you know those old-fashioned door handles where you push down the... Mm-hmm. So I run to the door, I grab it, I forget to push down the handle. I'm so high that I pulled the handle off the door. Holding a door handle. Like holding the door handle. It's like, oh, fuck. And I'm hearing behind me, pow, pow, pow. Don't stop, fuck, stop. And this gentleman is emptying the starter pistol, and it hurts, in the back into Mark, right? Bam, bam, bam. And I turn, and I'm trying to open the door, like with my fingers. Mm-hmm. And it's an old-fashioned door, big glass pane, door handle. And I just turn on and look, and Mark is running. And I just go, whoa. And he just goes, and he dives through the glass window. Like, smash out the window, rolls on the ground. I'm like, holy fuck, this is awesome. I'm out of here. Jumped out the door. I go left. Mark's running down the street. I can hear Mark running, and this gentleman, pow, 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 motherfucker, pow, pow. And then I'm like, holy shit, that's wild. And then I hear sirens, so I dive under a car. Like I just dive underneath a car. And then I just laid under this car for a while. And it was, like I said, high, like a kite. So no idea, right? No idea how long I really was there. And then it's like, it's probably been a day. I can go now. I pull myself out, look around, and I walk back, and I walk home. And the night before, the gas station that I robbed was like 3 blocks from my house. Like I just walked there, right? I just walked down, robbed. And so, but this one was more like, this was kind of, if you know Calgary, it's kind of 20th Avenue and 4th Street. Yeah. So like it's more of a hike. Mm-hmm. So it probably took me an hour and a bit to walk home, get home, go in the house, and like, oh, fuck me. Like, wow, what a trip this is. And I go in, and the guy I live with, super cool guy, he's like, what's up? You guys should have been back ages ago. Where's Mark? And I was like, pour me a drink. I'm going to tell you a story. So it made me, and the only drink, and it's gross. I don't know if I could drink this now, but we used to drink Dirty Mothers. It was like tequila, Kahlua, and milk. Jeez. Yeah, I know. Pour me a mother, and I'll tell you a story. So he pours me a drink, and we sit down. He's like, do you need anything? I was like, yeah, I need to smoke. So we light up a joint, and we're drinking. I tell him this story, and he's like, ooh, doesn't sound good. So Mark could be in some trouble. It's like, it's not here. He could be in trouble. And then the phone rings, old-fashioned, so old that the phone rang, and you picked it up, and you, hello? And it's Mark, and it's like, hey, can you come get me? And I was like, well, no. It's like, where are you and why? Why are you calling me? Like, are you at the police station? He said, no. I'm at a telephone booth on 4th, and he had walked, I don't know how many blocks. And he said, come get me. And I was like, man, I think you're setting me up, Mark. And he's like, no, I'm not setting you up. Come get me. I was like, okay. So I jumped in the car. I drove, I picked up Mark. I never had a license, by the way. I never had a driver's license until I was 35. Anyway, that's a separate story. And I went and picked up Mark, took him back home, and like he's got a big gash in his head from diving through the window. He's got like back in the day, like he had dreadlocks and his parents. He's another guy. His parents lived in Montreal and had sent him to school in Calgary to stay out of trouble. Anyway, so like he's like, we gotta go to the hospital. And I'm like, Mark, what are we gonna do? Go to the hospital and say, yeah, I look at this cut that I got from jumping through a window when I robbed a store. And it's like, man, you gotta suck it up. He says, I'm gonna bleed to death. We gotta go. I was like, okay. I said, we're gonna go to Red Deer. We'll jump in the car, gonna go to Red Deer. I mean, how lucky we were to grow up in no internet, no wireless, no cell phone shit. Like, drove 90 minutes away and got away with it, you know what I mean? Drove 90 minutes away, went to Red Deer, got them stitched up, like took cheese sandwiches and coffee. Like it was a road trip. and came back. And then, so that was Thursday night. Friday night, called a meeting. Everybody who had been there Wednesday night and Thursday night, like, got to come to the house. Everybody comes and it's like, okay, from now on, we're drug dealers, not armed robbers. Mike, you can't do an armed robbery and come here. You know, like if you do that, you can do it wherever, but don't come here for a day or two till after it's done. So, and you know, like kids, right? Yeah, okay, we'll do that. It's an oath. Yeah, okay, it's an oath. And so then we just did some drugs and forgot all about it. And then I was in grade 11, so maybe 16, I think.
Crazy.
Yeah. And
like young.
Do you have kids?
No.
Oh.
Nephews, nieces and nephews.
Yeah, 15 years old. Mm-hmm. Look at that person,
Yeah, exactly.
and then think of that story.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I have no idea. So anyway, that was that. And then probably close to a year later, I'm in math class. I come in first thing in the morning. I come in late, and Mrs. Taryn's there, and she's like, "Oh, Peter, you got to go to the office." And it's like, oh, "I'm just late. You know, I'm sorry." She's like, "No, you got to go to the office." And I was like, okay. And I go to and usually, like I said, you know, I went to school all the time, and I was quite often in the office, and the ladies in there liked me. Like, he's a cute kid. Like, I had no idea what that kid does, but he's kind of fun. And so I went in, and like the ladies at the desk were very serious as opposed to normally, and they're like, and she said, you have to go see Mr. Price. Mr. Price, the principal. And so go through the principal's office, you know. The door was open, so I go into the office. He's sitting at the desk, and he goes, "Peter, I know that you can do better." And I was like, you know, in my mind, I'm like, fuck, I'm late for math class. I can probably do better. And as he's saying that, the door closes behind me, and I turn around, and there's this huge guy there, and he goes, "Hi, I'm Detective," and this is the best name. "I'm Detective Stone, Calgary City Police. You're under arrest for armed robbery." And I was like, "The fuck are you talking about?" Like this, like, I mean, in my mind, like, obviously, it's like, this a year ago. I have no idea what's going on. And I was clearly clueless, and he's like, "Okay, we're going to go to your locker, grab your stuff, because we're going downtown, and you're not coming back to school." And I was like, "Don't need anything in my locker. If we're going to jail, let's just go to jail." I had a half a pound of Thai stick in my locker. It's like, don't need anything from my locker. And it's like, "No, we're going to your locker. You're going to get your jacket, and we're going downtown because you're not coming back here." And I was like, now I'm fucked, right? So, and he puts handcuffs on me.
In school?
In high school. So I've got handcuffs behind my back, and the timing was such that by the time this was all happening, it was between classes, and kids were walking up and down, you know, the hallways, and there's Estabrooks. So like, fuck, he's gonna like, and this guy was detective. Like, look at me now, and imagine me 20 pounds skinnier. You know what I mean? And way more hair. And sure enough, and he takes me to the locker and he goes, "What's the combo?" And I was like, "No, just just let me go. I'll open it and get my jacket." And he's like, "No, just give me the combo." Whatever, da-da-da left, da-da-da right, da-da-da left. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And so he opens it, pulls open the door, reaches in, grabs my jacket, closes it. Like serendipity or kindness. You know what I mean? Like the guy obviously knew I was fucked. In my mind, I think it was kindness. I think like this kid's in enough trouble. We don't have to add a half a pound of Thai stick because he's huge. You know, and it's in my locker. Like he can't not see it. In my opinion, he can't not see it and grab my jacket. And so we went downtown and went downtown, went into the holding cell, and you get a call. Go make your call. Call my dad. Hadn't spoken to my dad in a few years. Hi, Dad. I'm in jail. Need a lawyer. I said, okay. Hung up. And I didn't know if that meant, okay, I'm getting you a lawyer or you're fucked.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
a couple hours later, a lawyer comes down, a Mormon lawyer, a friend of my dad's. And we go into the little room and he's like, "You're such an asshole." He said, "You have good parents. And here's what's happening." He said, "You robbed places. We know that. They know that." He said, "You're going to go to jail." He said, I think that I can get you at least in a provincial jail, 2 years less a day. So you're going to go to jail. You're going to go to court. You're going to plead guilty. You're going to go to jail for 2 years less a day. Or you can go to court. You can plead not guilty. We're going to dance with the courts for a year, maybe two. And then you're going to get found guilty and you're going to go to jail for 2 years less a day or more. And he said, I think you should just go plead guilty and go to provincial jail. It's like, yep, I guess that's what I'm doing. And so that was, so I busted a couple nights in downtown jail. That was before the remand center stuff, just so like you're with every Tom, Dick, and Harry drunk in there, right? And so went to court the next day or the day after that, and pled guilty and went to jail. I got 2 years less a day. Provincial court, Spy Hill, Spy High, I like to call it, because I did finish my high school degree there. And so then I went to jail. And that was, I think it was 17. And then because I fucked around while I was in there, I ended up doing all the time that was necessary with that sentence. And then came out and became a boxer.
when you're in there, are you like thinking to yourself, "Oh, this is like I'm in a situation here. What am I going to do? What am I going to do?" Or like, what?
Oh, 100%. When I got there, I mean, the realization that like you are a fuck up.
Yeah.
Like you are, much like G. Salmon had said, you're an asshole. Like your parents obviously love you. Like when this happened, they stepped right up and got a lawyer and got you fixed and look around at the people you're in jail with and are those your homies? Is that what you want to be the rest of your life? Yeah. So I decided when I went to jail that I was just going to be on the straight and narrow. Like I was like, almost no more drugs. was my idea, right?
Crazy.
No more hard drugs.
They're back to the rules.
Back to the rules. And I did. Like I knew that when I went in that I would never go to jail again.
Right.
Like I was well aware of that. Yeah. That this is not some place I want to come back to ever.
Yeah.
And acted accordingly for the most part. I mean, so like that I was told that I was, that you're going to go to jail for 2 years less a day, or we can go to court and you're eventually going to go to jail for 2 years less a day.
Yeah.
Well, my buddy Mark, it was when maybe a month or 2 weeks before I got out, he went to jail for the same thing. The same thing he had done. His parents had,
Fight
done
it.
the legal system, blah, blah, blah. And he did the exact same amount of time as I did. And so because he was out, we had this, I mean, it's a funny story, but a fun and a fun time. We had joked years earlier that, man, if you ever go to jail, I'm going to send you a birthday card, and the back half of the birthday card, I'm going to soak in 100 lot of acid. And it's like, okay, that's what we'll do. So sure enough, I'm in jail, and it's September, and I get a birthday card from Mark. It's like, my birthday is in April. So I knew there was 100 hits of acid on the back of this card. And at the time I was in South Wing. When you went to jail, at the time at Spy Hill, they had, South Wing was everybody who worked in the kitchen and food delivery service. And, there were 4 wings. So you went to one. And so there was easily 100 guys in South Wing. So I cut the back of the card up into 100 little bits and distributed around. And it was on a Saturday, and that night they're playing the Bad News Bears, the movie, Walter Matthau, Bad News Bears. Like, because on Saturday night they'd play movies in the gym at jail, right? And so I gave everybody acid. Everybody in South Wing had acid. It was high like fucking kites. And they do the same thing. Like when you go in, South Wing sits here, West Wing sits here, North, like everybody's got a section.
Yeah.
So you got 4 sections of the gymnasium. Bad News Bears, Walter Matthau. I mean, I'm sure it's a funny enough show, but like we were dying. Like, so 3/4 of the gym is watching this movie, and then 1/4 of the gym is just shrieking and laughing and falling on the floor. So about halfway through the movie, lights are on. That's it. Everybody back to your bunks. That's it. Everybody's gone. And fuck, we had but that was Mark. That was totally one of the fun nights in jail.
When you come out, knowing that you never want to go back there again, boxing is your answer.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything else? Like, did you know what boxing was going to do for you, or was it just you just need to focus on something?
Yeah. Well, when I remember, did you ever read the book Papillon?
No.
No, it's about a guy who goes to jail in the French colonial times, and and when he's in jail, he starts to work out, and he becomes just this machine, and he was an escape artist. And so I wasn't the escape artist part, but from the first day I went into jail, I started doing push-ups, sit-ups, and squats. And I just I killed myself at first, like having no idea what to do, but so just crippled myself, and because I said, well, I'm going to do 100 of each every day, and then so I did the first day, and man, I was so lame. Like push-ups from my knees, I might get 9 now, but I made sure I did 100 squats, 100 sit-ups. And I was just like crippled for days. But I decided, so then I broke it down. So that was my first fitness programming. I thought, okay, well, I'll do 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, 10 squats, and then take a break. And I'll do that, I'll do that 10, 10, 10. I'll do that 5 times. So I got 50 of everything. And I'll do that first thing in the morning, and I'll do that last thing at night. And that still crippled me. So I thought, okay, well, I'll do 10, 10, 10, 3 times in the morning, 3 times at lunchtime, and 3 times at night. And then over time, I'd say, okay, now, felt pretty good. Now I had 2. So now you do 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12. So I ended up that every day in jail I was doing 500 sit-ups, 500 squats, and 500 push-ups.
Jesus.
Yeah. And I mean, I was 18 years old, so I had zero muscle, zero body fat. I was like 125 pounds. But anyway, I was in shape. So, and I knew, and and I practiced my shadow boxing. And they had a punching bag on the stage in the gymnasium. So I would practice punching. I would just go in and work the heavy bag. I ended up doing so. I'd do 500 sit-ups, push-ups, and squats every day, and you could get into the gymnasium 5 days a week. And every day that I could get in, I would do 5 times 3-minute rounds of hitting the bag. And at that point, I really didn't have much technique at all. I just knew that just keep going, right? Much like the exercise, just keep going, do more. And it's it ended up being a life motto, right? Do more. So when I came out of jail, I was fit. Well, so I did a year in Spy Hill. I did 6 months, and back then they used to have work camps.
Okay.
So it would be out in the Bragg Creek area, and you lived in trailers, and you cleared wood and you supplied wood to the campgrounds and stuff. So 5 days a week we would clear land. 2 days a week we would cut wood, 4 days clear land, 2 days, 1 day cut wood, 1 day deliver wood. So, I was in jail. You had 3 hours on a Saturday afternoon and 3 hours on a Sunday afternoon where you can go off site. You can't, you don't have a car, you're not allowed to be in a vehicle, theoretically. And, but you had 3 hours of freedom. You can go hike the pathways, and which was awesome. But anyway, so when that was happening, I started running. Occasionally I met girls who came out, but that's a different story. That bad kid in jail. It was really attractive. But at any rate, so in that 6 months, I kept up all my push-ups, all my sit-ups, didn't have a heavy bag, but every weekend ran for at least an hour, maybe 2, you know what I mean? So, and then the last bit of my sentence I did at the place called, ironically, the Ramsey House, because my gym now is 8 blocks east of the Ramsey House. Ramsey House was a house in Ramsey. Obviously, there was a halfway house, and you had to have a job. You had a job, and you had a job. A curfew on weeknights was 9 o'clock. Curfew on weekends was 11 o'clock. Friday and Saturday was 11 o'clock. Sunday was at 9 o'clock. And so you had to have a job. But you're at a halfway house. You're basically free. So the first day I was at the halfway house, I went to the National Fitness Center. Like I had figured out where the boxing in Calgary was and where it was going to be. And literally the first day that I was at the halfway house, I walked from Ramsey downtown. At the time, the National Fitness Center was a basement gym on 8th Avenue and 5th Street. Super cool. And, and I knew the minute that I opened the door to go downstairs, like it just stank like gym, and it was just like, fuck, this is so awesome. So when I came out, I was in good shape, and my first focus was fitness.
With an idea behind fitness, or was it just like,
I'm going to be a boxer. I'm going to be a world champion, which I never was. But the idea was that I was going to, well, for me, like I said, I love to get high. And boxing got me high. Like I didn't have to do drugs. Fitness gets me high. Like literally, to this day, fitness gets me high. It's why I do it so much. It's just integral to how I feel good, how I feel complete. Anyway, so I went to the National Fitness Center, went downstairs, introduced myself to the coach, Mansour Esmail, and, said, I want to be a boxer. And he was like, okay. And started that night doing some drills. And he immediately threw me in with the tough kids. Like, do you really want to be a boxer?
Yep.
Jump in with Bobby Harvey. Jump in with Terry Coveney. Jump in with Kevin McDermott. Okay, let's see, jump in with Peter. Let's see if you really want to be a boxer. And took shit kickings for the first little while. And that's how you earned your stripes there too, right?
Mm-hmm.
You took shit kickings. You didn't complain. You just went in. And I had the advantage of I was in good shape.
Yeah.
So I had a good chin. So I was very durable. You could beat me up for a long time and I'd still be there.
Still do gas.
Yeah. So, that was my first, that was my first boxing experience, my first fitness experience. Mm-hmm. And then, I worked at a place called the Import Bazaar selling wicker furniture and eventually starting waiting tables at Earl's and boxing. That's all I did.
That was your life.
Yeah, that was the entire, I was at the, again, rushed into a lot of things. I had my first kid when I was 20 and when she was about a year, her mom went for a weekend to Vancouver and never came back. So I had a kid, and I worked at a bunch of different places. And so for a couple of years, that's all I did. I just boxed, worked.
Be a dad?
Yeah, totally loved it. Totally loved it.
But a lot of responsibility at a young age.
And see, again, it's the same thing. It's just life, you know what I mean? Like you said earlier about, not a terribly introspective person.
Yeah.
I just kind of, this is my life. This is what I do. This is where I'm at right now. And that's how I've lived to this day. That's how I've lived. Circumstances have changed on several different occasions where it's okay, so now this is your life. Mm-hmm. And, you do that for a little bit and then that's your life.
Yeah.
And then that changes and now this is your life. So, so this is my life. Hanging out on podcasts.
Is that a conscious decision to operate like that? Just to be present or just not to
It's a learned response. You know what I mean? I've had the opportunity to live with a number of really beautiful women and I have some kids and those relationships have all kind of altered the way I lived at the time and altered who I am now. And a learned response to a lot. I'm lucky. I'm 66. By the time you're here, if you haven't figured shit out, you're in trouble. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I am very much. This is today, and it works. You know what I mean? You just have positive habits, and I guess that's part of it. Is you can't dwell on negativity. You can't make your own negativity. You can't become part of someone else's negativity. You just have to be focused on moving forward and having fun. I like joy. I like love. I like exercise.
So basic concepts, right?
Yeah, exactly. I got them all covered.
So you're 20, boxing, working, dad.
Yeah.
Do you have a vision for where you were where you're
going?
going?
I really thought that I was going to make a life out of boxing.
Hell bent on I'm going to be a...
Yeah, well, after the first year, I went to the Nationals a few times and, placed the first year, got a couple of bronzes the next few years, got a silver one year.
I guess you're talented.
I was tenacious, probably more tenacious than talented and carried much further by a commitment to fitness.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had a good chin and I could last. So more often than not, you probably just got tired from beating me up. It's my arms. So then I would take over, you know what I mean? Once you were tired of beating me up. yeah. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to be a boxer. And then I turned professional, and I moved down to Utah. I mean, ironically, that's where my dad went when he was going to grow up, and I fought for a manager down there, and I didn't have a green card to work. But I had a card to box. So I could go down there and train and fight and do all the boxing stuff, but I couldn't work. So I was in a stable of boxers, meaning a bunch of boxers that one manager had, and he had an apartment building, and everybody lived in the apartment, small, but everybody lived in the apartment, and at 5 in the morning, we'd all go train till 8 o'clock in the morning. Then everybody would go to their jobs. And then come back, and at 4 o'clock, from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock, we would train, do more sparring, more technique, more. And but that left me from 8 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon with not much to do.
Yeah.
And, and I didn't, for a while I thought, I can do some cash day labor stuff. And then, my Chappie, my manager's like, if you get caught, you're done here.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So then I didn't do anything, and then it was in Provo, Utah, and Utah State University was there, and you could audit classes that you didn't have to pay for. Like you could just go sit in a class. You weren't registered. You weren't on a roll. You couldn't do exams, but you could go listen. So I thought, well, I'm going to go to the phys ed program, and I'm going to, because I'm a boxer, I might as well figure out physical education. And so I went and I sat in on classes and was interested in physical in the literal physical education, not the teaching part of it or anything, but I'm like, this hasn't come up yet, but I'm totally selfish. You know what I mean? And that was going to be good for me. Like that was going to my end. That was going to work well. So I audited classes, and then I had an opportunity to fight a guy named Tony Pep in New Westminster. And Tony Pep ended up being the IBF World Featherweight Champion. He's a spectacular fighter. And Chappie had arranged for me to fight Tony Pep because it was in Canada and I was Canadian, so that was going to be a good thing. So we drove from Provo to New Westminster for the fight, and okay, I'll tell you what happened after the fight. How's that? So after the fight, the Chappie's like, "Okay, we gotta go back." So after the fight, I had gone out, had some drinks with some people there, and hung out. Showered, went for dinner, went for drinks, came back. Chappie and I jumped in the car, started driving back to Provo, and we're driving, and I see a sign that said Hope, 10 kilometers, and I was like, Chappie. He said, what? I said, we're obviously going the wrong way. And he goes, what are you talking about? And I said, well, if we're going to Hope, we haven't gone to New Westminster. We're going the wrong direction. I'm Canadian. I know where the difference between Hope and New Westminster. We're going the wrong direction. And he went, pull over. So I said, he says, I'm going to drive for a while. And I said, okay. So we switched seats. And he gets back and he said, where do you think we're going? And I said, we're going to New Westminster to fight Tony Pep. And he goes, that fight was about 8 hours ago. And he said, you got knocked out in the second round. And I had no idea.
Crazy.
Like, to this day, I have no idea of the circumstance of, well, I know how. He hit me because I saw a film of it later.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh, fuck
so you've
me.
Seen it.
Well, for starters, we fought, I think, at lightweight. So that would have been 130 pounds. No, featherweight would have been 126 pounds. So again, that's 20 pounds less than I am today. Tony Pep, no idea how he made 126 pounds, 6'3", and punched like a motherfucker. So I saw tape afterwards, and Tony Pep hit me. First round was me like what the fuck? Like trying to stay close to this huge man who was just picking me apart. And the second round, maybe 10 seconds into the second round, he hit me with such a right hand that my feet lifted off the ground and my head hit the ring before anything else. I have no idea. Like it sounds horrible. I don't know, because I wasn't there. So at any rate, we driving back, and I was like, I think I'm done, Chappie. I think I'm done boxing. So drove back to Provo, packed up my stuff, moved back to Calgary, and enrolled at University of Calgary in physical education. So then it was that quick. Like that dream was very obviously over. It's like, well, so I mean, the one thing I can say is I've been knocked out by a world champion.
Rare.
Not many guys can say that. Yeah. Not many guys want to say that.
The UFC experience, was it kind of right time? Was it what you needed, what you wanted? Like it
was 100% the right time. It was, well, it's because I loved it. I mean, I've had two mentors in my life, and the first one being Mansour Esmail, who was the boxing coach at the National Fitness Center when I first started boxing. Well, Mansour in particular, for this reason, is because I was coming out of jail. I had zero money, and so I couldn't pay to go to the National Fitness Center. And Mansour said, well, you can't come for free. So he said, you're going to teach the Saturday morning conditioning classes. And Mansour was a Ugandan who had, we're in this cool room, who had bookshelves, like he had bookshelves full of binders of exercises. And he said, go into my office, and he said, make a class for Saturday, So I'd go into the office, make a class for Saturday, and he'd go, that's a very good effort. Peter, very good effort. Let's do this. And he would, change things up and mix it up. And so I paid for my boxing, and I was at the National Fitness Center for 4 years and never paid a dime, but always constructed the Saturday morning circuit classes, which are what I do to this day. Like that is the primary. The Fitness Guy Inc. runs 6 classes a week. Those are boxing conditioning classes. And so anyway, that was, Mansour was one. And my second mentor was Dr. George Kinnear at University of Calgary. First class I went to it was called Functional Fitness. And George said, okay, everybody stand up. Everybody stood up. And he's like, okay, everybody here who can't run 10 miles, sit down. A few people sat down. Everybody here who can't do 100 sit-ups, sit down. Some more people, Anyone here who can't do 25 chin-ups, sit down. Some more people. And he asked these questions till eventually there was me and a girl standing. And he said, because those 2 people should be in physical education. The rest of you should think of something else to do. I love George for that.
That's awesome.
And so that is, and he, I still boxed. I still practice boxing.
Yep.
I didn't fight. My professional career was over. And because once you fought professionally, you can't fight amateur again. So my boxing days were over in terms of fighting. But, I still sparred, and so I actually I taught George and a couple other professors at the University of Calgary to box. So we'd do sparring sessions, and he taught me exercise. And I still talk to George.
No way.
I talked to him last week. He's an inspiration for starters. He's late 80s now, and now he's I think he doesn't. I don't think he hikes 10 miles a day.
Crazy.
On a treadmill because he had fallen and broken his wrist the last time he was out running. So now he's like, only treadmills, no more outside. So, but he's still super cool guy, an inspiration to me. And I think, okay, I got another 40 years in me.
Keep this thing moving.
Yeah, exactly. That's all this thing does is move.
When you get to university and when you're done with it, do you know what you're up to? Do you have a plan as you're like getting through all this?
So I had been a single dad for a few years,
Yeah.
and my first daughter's mother, who had moved to Vancouver, had in the interim married someone and had a couple more kids, and wanted custody of Tiffany. And I wrestled with that for a while, and part of it was selfish, and part of it was that I was a single dad. I had a couple jobs. I went to university. She was in elementary school, and at like my rationale for what my decision was is that I'm not able to give her enough of time and attention that she needs at 5 years, 6 years old. And so I gave up custody, and she moved to Vancouver. And probably the single most worst thing that I've ever done in my life, and that I've had years of counseling and years of trying to come to terms with that move. At any rate, so for the first few years of university, I was focused on just keeping my shit together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Got a kid, got a job, got 3 jobs, just go. And then so I gave up custody of Tiffany the last year of university, and started drinking heavily. And I got a job, and I used to teach aerobics. This was in the aerobics craze. So, and I mean, and that was a cool transition because I ran the Saturday morning conditioning classes at the National Fitness Center, and this super cute girl had come in one time and said, you should come to my gym. I teach fitness too. And I was like, what do you do? And she's like, I teach aerobics. I was like, what the fuck is aerobics? And she's like, well, come to my class. And she was one of the original owners of Heaven's Fitness.
No way.
And it was on 14th Street in Kensington at that time. And I went to this aerobics class, and I was like, and I can't keep rhythm. I can't do shit. But I'm in good shape, and I'm enthusiastic. And it's like, there's a guy teaching on stage. There's probably 35 women in tights, in shorts, in tank tops, and me and one other guy in the back row. I'm just like, fuck, I could do this.
I found it.
Yeah, I think I could do this. So I was in aerobics. So I got certified, became an aerobics instructor at the original Heaven's Fitness.
Crazy.
And then I also got a job there was a company called Bust Loose Vacations. And so I was the fitness director at Bust Loose Vacations.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, for a couple of years, went down to Puerto Vallarta and taught aerobics from 7 till 8 in the morning, and then drank from 9 till midnight or later. And
Do it again.
yeah. Anyway, so the year that my last year of university was not problematic. It was a lot of fun, but it wasn't conducive to a real healthy lifestyle or a long career in anything, right?
Yeah.
So I did that and finished university, and then had an opportunity to move to Germany, to Munich, to teach aerobics at the Yost Dance Factory. And so I left, went there, and so way earlier, when I first came out of jail, when I was boxing, I had come to a night one day with David, a friend of mine, Dave Edwards. We were sitting on Crescent Hill, like high, like kites, on mushrooms, and looking down the city, and that was when I was out and boxing and stuff, and we were sitting there chatting, and I was just like, you know, Dave, I don't think I'm ever going to do drugs again. And he's like, you're such a liar. And so I quit that night. So I didn't do drugs anymore. I mean, I didn't do drugs that you take in. I make my own drugs now, like just norepinephrine and serotonin. Like I'm a factory. I'm a drug factory, but I know how to do it now. And so the same thing happened when I moved to Munich. I was like, I'm not drinking anymore, you know. And whereas I still don't do drugs, and now I'll have a glass of wine, but it was definitely like I had a real shift, which was good for me.
Healthy.
Yeah.
You just reach a point. You're just in your mind. You're just like,
Yeah.
I'm just kind of. You're over it. You're just.
Well, it's not that I'm over it. It's like this doesn't serve me anymore. Like this isn't good for me, and in those two instances, like smoking dope and doing any kind of hard drugs didn't serve me.
Yeah.
Like it didn't make me a better person. Certainly didn't make me a better boxer.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, that was part of the decision, right? Like because I was starting to progress as a boxer, and you can't progress if you're putting something in front of you all the time. If you're saying, this is I'm going to do drugs on Friday night and I'm going to train Saturday morning. Well, it's not really going to work out, at the end of the day. So, so it was a conscious decision. So drugs, alcohol, hard, like I said, I'll have a glass of wine. I don't mind that. I'm loopy. Give me 2 glasses of wine. Like it's a wrap for that kid.
You're a lean human.
yeah, exactly.
The aerobics piece is fascinating to me.
Super fun.
Like you're in early, obviously.
At the very beginning of the craze. The beginning of aerobics, and very lucky to be at Heaven's Fitness. Helen Vandenberg still run. I think it's called. I can't remember what they call it now, but she is still in the game. She's still teaches classes. Very smart, very articulate, very focused. It's not something I'm not often, as life would show. But it was so fun.
Like what year was it ish? Like 80s?
84 maybe, yeah.
And so like
like it was the beginning. Like there wasn't anything like it. You know what I mean? It was like the Jane Fonda era, and then all of a sudden, it was aerobics. It was all high impact, like jump up and down, like just crush yourself. And that was the option. High impact aerobics, go. Yeah. And there were some really cool instructors at Heaven's Fitness, like men and women, that were. I'd look at them on stage and think, fuck that, they're so, like, I want to be like that. I want to be as good as that is, So I taught for you. And then I ended up teaching because I had a phys ed degree and I could teach at a bunch, so I worked at Petro-Canada downtown. They used to have a fitness center upstairs there. And the Husky Club and the Corner Club, and like for a while, I made my living as an aerobics instructor. I'd teach like 5 classes a day, just hit different clubs.
Crazy.
Yeah, and that was before. Like first it was all aerobics, and then it became step aerobics. Then there was this new thing called step aerobics, and that one day while I was still drinking, and in Puerto Vallarta, this pretty sure it wasn't her name, but this girl named Kiki from Los Angeles, we were hanging out in a bar one night, and she was telling me, like, there's this, because I was an aerobics instructor, and she was super fit, and she was like, well, do you guys do step aerobics? And I was like, what are step aerobics? And so just liquored up. She taught me step aerobics. We went to the front steps of this bar, went outside on the step, and she started going through like some step routines, and and of course, I thought she was brilliant, and had some fun with Kiki for a little bit, and then and then came back to Calgary, and then step started here, and so I became certified as a step instructor, and so I taught high impact aerobics, low impact aerobics, step classes, and there was only one place in town, the Husky Club, would let me teach the boxing circuit, because at that point boxing wasn't a thing anymore. You know what I mean? And it was, and circuit training wasn't, aerobics was what it was all about. That was pre-spin bike, like aerobics were the fad, and I wanted to teach my boxing class, but like no one wanted it per se, and which was one of the reasons I eventually started my own club, thinking, well, like nobody's teaching this, and it's such a good way to get in shape, and it's accessible to anyone, and you get to hit things. Please.
Wins all over.
Yeah, exactly.
The community and culture around aerobics.
So cool.
So I'm born in 77, so I was like,
6.
so I wasn't into it, but it just seems like there was such a culture.
Well, it was like two cultures in Calgary, because there was a group called Fit City, and there was Heaven's Fitness. And if you're in Calgary, you're either at Fit City or you're at Heaven's Fitness. And then eventually, as years went on, other clubs opened up. But at the beginning, there were just two big clubs, and you were one or the other. It was tribes. But the people, you know what I mean? It was, it was a super social thing, Everybody was young, everybody was kind of, and I was a little older than most, in as much as I'd gone to jail, I'd gone to university late. I was kind of in my 30s by the time I was teaching. Well, no, I was earlier when I started teaching, but in the heyday, I was a little later than the crowd, a little older than the crowd, so I wasn't quite as, you could be as social as you want to be. Like it was, like I was terrible when I was first teaching, in terms of, again, another, like, you want a horrible story? Because I was a single dad. I mean, that's better than a puppy. You know what I mean? And it was terrible, because I would have people over. I wouldn't have people over. I would have a woman over. We'd hang out, and then it's time for you to go. I'm just going to stay over. Well, you can't stay over. I don't want you to meet my daughter in the morning like that. And they're like, oh, you're so wonderful. Like, just a horrible human being.
Did you when you're, and I think I already know the answer because of how you operate, but like when you're in all this, it's just like, you're in the presence, you're just doing this thing. Like you're super fit, so your body can handle it. Because bouncing around to like 5 different places and doing, like that's a lot on your body. Like it's taxing. You're just like in the moment. Yeah. It's exactly what I'm dealing with right now, and this feels right, and I'm just going to.
Well, I'm lucky in as much as that fitness allows you that. Yeah. Like you can go forever. Like and my motto is obviously the more you do, the more you can do. It's true. And it doesn't matter. That doesn't put you in a special class. Like that doesn't mean I'm special because I do what I do. That means that whatever you do, you can do more of that and you can get better. Like, so we're equals in that category. What my more is different than what your more is. Yeah. But we all have the ability to improve our fitness, and your fitness is integrally tied into your health, particularly the older you get. Yeah. Like I look at people my age now, people who said, in their 40s, like, oh, running's hard on my knees, and I'm gonna quit running. It's like, yeah, you are, but you'll pay a price for it. You know what I mean? Like that. It's sometimes unpopular standpoint, but I think that if you want to live healthy, active longer, you have to put some time into it. Yeah. Like it's not a gimme. Yeah. Like when people say, "Well, you're lucky, you run hundreds of kilometers." Yeah. Because I run hundreds of kilometers, you know what I mean? Because I make myself do it, because it's like what day is today? Today's Monday.
Monday.
Yesterday I ran for 3.5 hours out in the powder face. And, wow. See, and again, so this is individual. Like my running, I know people who would come beside me and go, well, that's not running, that's hiking. What the fuck? Come on. Could you go a little faster? Yeah. And it's like, no, but this is what I do. You know what I mean? And when I woke up yesterday morning, my first thought wasn't, oh boy, it's minus 18. I'm going running for 3.5 hours. You know, my thought was, I'm probably going to enjoy this once I start doing it. I'm going to go there. And for me, fitness has often been a negotiation. I don't want to run today. Okay, well then just run for half an hour. Just, just run for half an hour. Run out 15 minutes, turn around, run back. So do that. Like you don't have to run long today, but you have to do something. So go run for half an hour. You know what? And when you go and make yourself do it, you know what? 15 minutes into it, you're like, well, maybe I can go a little bit longer. Like, and quite often it's a rolling negotiation. Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna go. Like yesterday, I started down the Powder Face Creek parking lot, and I'm just gonna go to Prairie Link and back because it's minus 18. It's cold, and then so I get up to Prairie Link, and it's like it's only 2 more miles to the top of Powder Face, to the saddle at Powder Face. And it's like, well, I'm just going to go to the saddle and back. And it's like, okay. So I go to the saddle and I come back down. And by now it's minus 10. You know, and I'm running downhill and I'm feeling pretty good. So now when I get back to the Prairie Link, which is a trail that goes offset, it's a little longer than going straight back. It's like, well, I'm just going to do Prairie Link. That's why I run Prairie Link. And I'm feeling good and get over to Prairie Creek. And it's like, cool, I'm just going to wrap it up, go down Prairie Creek, and I'm done, And I go down Prairie Creek, and if you turn left, you can go up West Side Story, which is kind of a brutal run in the wintertime. But then you come down the front of Prairie Mountain, and it's like, I'm going to turn left here. So, like, I had 4 different opportunities where I could have, and I would have, and I have before, felt very comfortable in saying, it's a wrap for today. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, but if I'm feeling good, it's like, okay, let's do this. You often regret that last decision, though. It's like, fuck.
Here we are.
Yeah.
The aerobics piece, how long do you're doing that and then you spin up your boxing club? This is the kind of the trend?
No, actually, it was 1998. I worked at Heavens, the Glencoe Club, Husky, the Corner Club. I think there are a couple other clubs that I was teaching aerobics at, and personal in the advent of this. After aerobics came personal training, which the first time someone asked me to personal train them, I thought they were hitting on me, like for real. This woman's like in an aerobics class. She's like, I got a bunch of stuff set up at my house. Can you come give me a program? Give me an idea of what to do. And it's like, sure.
Do you really?
Sure, I can do that. But she really wanted exercise, right? So, and because I had a phys ed degree, I knew the physiology of lifting weights, of working out in different ways. So I started personal training at the Glencoe Club, and I think the Glencoe Club was the only club that I was personal training at. And I was getting busy enough that I thought, man, I was doing, 6 personal training sessions a day and a class. And it's like, well, you know what? I'm only making, they're charging me out at $100 and I'm making $60. Yeah. It's like, if I did, I did the math. I was like, if I opened my own gym, I could probably not have to follow the rules because I hate rules. You have to dress really nice at the Glencoe. No jeans, no jeans, no sleeveless shirts. So I opened a place called The Space.
The Space, and where was that?
We're in the old Dominion building on Stampede, just east of the Stampede grounds. Okay. Super cool old building. A guy had rented 35,000 square feet of it. He had put a gym downstairs, and he was kind of a trust fund guy. And wasn't really using it.
Yeah.
But he had set it up. It was like super cool, kind of Art Deco, welded together machinery and stuff. And so I said to him, "Hey, can I train here?" And he's like, "Yeah, what are you going to pay me?" And I said, "Well, I'm currently paying about 40% of what I make to the Glencoe Club. So I'll give you 30% of everything I make until I'm paying you $2,000 a month, and then that'll be my rent." And he said, "Okay, it's a deal." So I worked. So I went there, and then I started. That's when I started the TKO classes. It was just like, this is my kind of training, and I really enjoyed it. So I'd personal train during the day, teach a class a day,
Yep.
and then the beautiful woman I was with at that time had an argument with the guy who owned the gym, and so went to Pro Bodies. So
No way.
yeah, so that's when I went to Pro Bodies. I can't even remember. I think 91, and then went to Pro Bodies for, I think I was there almost 10 years, and then the owner of Pro Bodies, I think, had some issues with some other people who wanted to take over the gym. So these other people took over the gym, and they said, "Well, this is how much we're going to charge you." And I said, "Well, that makes no sense to me."
Yeah.
So I opened my first gym over in the Curry Barracks, held that gym for about 5 years, and then about 4 years, and then moved to a bigger space on the Curry Barracks, and did that for about 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And then just 2 years ago, moved over to Inglewood.
Cool.
Yeah.
When you decided to open up your own spot, was it a numbers play for you? You're like, if I can.
No.
What?
It was, I hate working for people. I'm terrible. I really have,
Got some tendencies.
I just have an issue with authority. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm a good boss for me.
Yeah.
Because I have to make a living. So I don't mind working for me. But, and I like to work. I like to have a big stereo system in the gym. I like to play the music I want to play. I'm very selfish. I like to do my thing my way. And I've been so fortunate to be able to do my thing my way for years now.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And just, so I do the same thing now. 5 or 6 sessions a day, a class. I work 6 days a week. 6.5. Yeah. I teach class on Saturday morning, and I'm so lucky in that I've got clients who have been long-term clients.
Yep.
And when I say long, I mean 20 plus years, that I've got some of those clients that I work out with. I just plan the program, we do the workouts, and we just, so I get to work out. I'm working out 2 to 4 hours a day, do my own running. And, you can't beat that. There's no boss that will let me do that.
You've been in the fitness world for a long time.
Yeah.
You've seen it
1984.
So it's you saw it in this infancy stage.
Yeah.
And then it's here now, right? I don't know how you describe here now.
Yeah.
It's a different animal right now.
Well, it's a multidisciplinary world. You know what I mean? Because there's still, generationally, there is still aerobics around. There are still people who do step classes, and then there was the advent of spin, and then there was, with the internet has come Peloton and all sorts of different online training programs. So it's much more diversified now.
Yeah.
Than it was in 1984. 1984, it was 5BX or aerobics or powerlifting. You're one of those camps. You know what I mean? You're calisthenics, you're lifting heavy weights, or you're doing aerobics. And I'm lucky enough to do all of them.
What do you think's been your secret to last this long and to continue to crush and do the thing? What's your?
Because I love it.
And do you think
it feeds me?
That's the driver behind that?
No,
right?
because it makes me better.
Yeah.
It makes me physically better, but it makes me feel better. We joked about it, but it's my drug.
Yeah.
Like like when you work out, like I run long still, which is so hard on my body.
I can't imagine.
I mean, neither. It
fucking horrible.
makes no sense.
I agree.
But like lifting weights or people who cycle or running long starts a hormonal cascade, and we all react to that hormonal cascade different. Like, and you might get, your serotonin or your epinephrine or your norepinephrine might be delivered to you in a different fashion. Do you know what I mean? Like that. Like I get high running, but it takes a long time. Like, and I get high lifting weights. Doesn't take as long. And it's a different kind of high.
Yeah.
I get super high. Like I get legit. I did some drugs high from cold plunging. Like that's like, if nothing else, here's what I'll tell everybody: sauna, 4 times, 20 minutes, 174 degrees Fahrenheit, 80 degrees Celsius. Decrease in all-cause mortality by 40%. Decrease in the incidence of Alzheimer's by 50%. If that was a pharmaceutical drug, we would all be on it. And I've been doing it for, 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah.
I started out with just the sauna because all this sauna research came out probably 5 years ago. And then cold plunging. Someone asked me on a whim, you do some cold plunging? It's like, you're out of your fucking mind. But did it. Sauna, I don't like. Sauna, I'm just like, sauna's fucking hot.
Yeah.
It's just, excuse me. And it's good for me.
Yeah.
Like, and I know, like, those are legitimate stats. Like a 40% decrease in all-cause mortality. Why would you not do it?
Yeah.
Like, it makes no sense to me. But at any rate, I don't get high from a sauna. I'm usually just like, fuck, this is so hot.
Survive.
But I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. And it's a very social thing. Like I've got a group of people that on Sundays. Yesterday there was probably 20 people in my sauna.
No way.
Like from
Yeah.
11 o'clock in the morning through 8 o'clock at night. People drop over, go in the sauna, go ahead. I'll hang out with some of them. Sometimes I'm just like, I'm so done. You just do your thing. But and the cold plunging. But cold plunging, like when I come out of a 5-minute cold plunge, like I have this neurological response that is exactly the same to me as doing cocaine.
Crazy.
Like it is, like I go back in the sauna, I lie down and quite often just giggle. Because like people think, oh, you're nodding your head, but you might be thinking, no, you're wrong. But I have like, that is a response that I have. Like it is 100% something is happening in my brain that I used to have to use a chemical to get.
It's like,
yeah. Why wouldn't you do that?
do this one.
Yeah.
That like love, like your reason, that's the reason you do all this.
Yeah.
Do you think it like attracts people to you so that you can keep doing this thing? Like does your energy and your like, whatever you're putting into the universe,
Yeah.
is that why you can still do all this? Is that why you still have people that
I think so. Because I don't advertise.
Yeah. You were asking me about marketing. I was like, well, fuck, I don't know. Like,
it's just word of mouth.
Yeah.
Like I just like people tell people and those people. And so you end up with a group of people who like what you do.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like I don't have to search for people. They come.
Yeah.
And a lot of people come and don't come back.
Yeah.
A lot of people come and they think this is exactly what I need.
Yeah.
And I think love is a good word for it because it's a love that I have for what I do.
Yeah.
And it's not creepy, but it's a love for the people that are there. You know what I mean? Like when you come to my class, there's a real tribe vibe, and you don't have to have been there before to get that same vibe. You know what I mean? Like I have a very welcoming and encouraging group because everybody who comes to my class came for the first time one time, and they know that it's intimidating. Like I'm not going to that guy's class. Like that's fucking nuts. Like, and then, they might see something online and like, I'm not going there. Like they're throwing medicine balls at each other. I'm not doing that. And then they get there and they realize that, like I said, people who are there have been there for the first time before. And it's again, I don't even have to do anything. I just watch. Like I bring somebody into class, hey, how you doing? You know, Brittany. So Brittany, you're going to follow Rob this class, and Michelle's going to follow you. So all you got to do is whatever Rob is doing, that's what you're doing next station. And so keep an eye on him. Don't fuck that up. When I say change stations, wherever Rob was, you go. So Rob all of a sudden goes, okay, I got somebody new following me, and makes a point of going to the next exercise. Did you see what I did? This is what I did. Here I am. Now go. You know what I mean? And Michelle's on the other side of him, and she goes, hey, you're not doing that right. Let me show you. You know what I mean? So I don't have to teach that much in my class. I'm just kind of the ringleader. I'll just watch it all happen. And again, it's the love for what I do, and it's the love that's created inside of a class for the participants. And it might be like when you're 15, it might be a very fleeting love, but it's really good while it lasts, right?
Is your approach unique? Are you...
To me.
Yeah.
I think there are many successful fitness people in Calgary, and they all have an approach that's unique to them, but centered on the one thing that you can't fake authenticity. You know, I know that's so corny to say, but it's true. Like if you really believe what you're doing, and someone wants to do that, they're gonna follow you. Yeah. And like I said, I'm not for everybody. I'm a little bit outside the box, and I understand that, but that's who I am. Yeah. And I'm not going to change that so that you come to my class. Yeah. I'm just going to be that, and if that works for you in my class, that's great. And then there's other instructors and personal trainers in Calgary who are very different than me in their approach and in their delivery, and yet they're equally, if not better than me. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because it's the same as, you just have to find out, as a fitness participant, you have to find out what works for you. Yeah. Like, and you have to explore a bunch of different things. And that's where the biggest issue that I have with most people who give up fitness. It's too much work. I don't like it. I don't give a fuck. Like, do you want to grow old and healthy, or do you want to get old and decrepit? Those are your two choices. And if you want to get old and healthy, you got to move. So your job is to find out what makes me want to move. What makes me happy? What class? Like, do I like spin classes? Good, I'll go to spin class. Do I like boxing? No, I'll go to boxing. I fucking hate that. Okay, do I lift weights? Oh, I fucking hate that. Oh, do I do aerobics? Oh, I fucking hate that. Well, what do you like? Like, don't quit until you realize, okay, there's something that I'm going to be able to maintain for the rest of my life. Because that's how long you have to work out for. Yeah. I mean, what a sad story, but it's true. Like, what you put into yourself physically for the rest of your life is how you live the rest of your life. Yeah. And it's so, you know what, when you're younger, it's super easy to go to just, I'm okay. I'm in okay shape. Not as bad as Bob. Bob's fat. Do you know what I mean? But eventually, like, and especially when people tell, oh, I can't do that. Okay, if you can't do that, don't tell me what you can't do. Tell me what you can do. Tell me what you will do. And then let's do that. Let's like find out what works for you. Find out what you at least don't hate. I don't say you have to love it, but at least don't hate it. That was my advice.
Do you get to have this conversation very often? Like that thought process with either new clients, existing people, like your like ethos of how you think training should fit into your life. You know, if you want to live a better life at an older age, you got to move. Do you get to articulate that to people, or is it people just...
Well, I articulate that through my actions. Like, I'm 66 years old. Yeah, I ran a 100K race this summer. You know what I mean? And again, it's not, and now that you're my age, it's not about being ripped. Like, I don't give a fuck.
That's just an outcome of all the energy you put in.
Yeah. But it's even irrelevant. Yeah. You know what I mean? What's more relevant is how I feel, how I think. Like because like those inextricably linked. What you do and how you think. Inextricably linked. And if you don't do anything, it's going to catch up.
Yeah.
It's going to.
It will. Like,
It will.
why would somebody not believe that? It's and I'm
Because it's hard.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's hard, and we live in a time when it's easy to do fuck all. You know what I mean? Like oh my God, if and it's a practice that I've just started, and it is one of the hardest things I've ever done. When I go home at night now, I leave my phone in my truck.
Amazing.
Have you tried that?
So my trick is every night at 9 o'clock, my phone goes to sleep.
Yeah.
And then I go to bed, and my phone lives in the other room.
Yeah.
And that's my.
That's your truck.
That's my hack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
What do you think? What's it giving you?
I have a little art studio at my house. I write, and I do shit around like I'm lucky enough. I rent like 180 acres out west of the city. There is always something. Like I got to cut wood, I got to clear a trail, and if I got my phone, it's so easy to not do all of that stuff. Yeah, so I'm finding it hard.
You gonna stick with it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel like once you kind of set your mind on it, it's like it's over.
Well, I mean, because I don't know about you, but I still do get those. You have spent 6 hours and 40 minutes on your phone today, and it's like, the fuck did I do that? Like, how did I do that? 6 hours. Like, what's 6 hours and 40 minutes? What could you do in 6 hours and 40 minutes?
Like when you think about it, imagine those 6 hours we did in the 80s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I worked out.
When you kind of back this thing all up, when you're like, coming out of university, you've been around the fitness world for a long time, the path you've taken and kind of where you are right now, could you have pictured it? Is this exactly
no, not
what
a
you're...
chance. No, outside of the fact that I knew that moving made me happy.
Yeah.
No, there was no, like, I'm not the brightest kid on the block. So the idea that I would, because to this day, this still isn't a job.
Yeah.
This is just what I do every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm so blessed to be able to do what I do, to have been able to find the people who will fund my lifestyle.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's rare, right?
Exceedingly.
Yeah.
Well, exceedingly rare, I think, to find something that, like, someone asked me, I'm like, when are you going to retire? And it's like, I don't think I'm ever going to retire.
Yeah.
Well, A, because fitness doesn't pay that well.
Yeah.
And B, because there's always going to be people my age or close to my age who want to do what I do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's not, because what am I going to retire to? Well, what would I do if I retired? Well, I'd lift weights. I'd run mountains. I'd sauna plunge. Oh, wait a minute, that's my job. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't really happen for many people. Most people can't, say that out loud. Usually people are like trying to work to the end so they can then do the thing they really want to do.
Well, even then, I mean, if that is the case, and I understand that, little people make a lot more money than me and live a lot larger than me. But in that making money and in that living larger, they're not taking the time to exercise. So when they do retire, it's like saying, well, it's not like saying, you don't have a car. You don't have a car to take somewhere. You know what I mean? Like you don't have the mobility to do what you want to do. Like, I'm going to retire in golf. Yeah, maybe if you're not 300 pounds, or maybe if you can swing a golf club still, maybe if you have the dexterity, maybe if you have the cardiovascular capability to walk to a cart. Yeah.
This might be a weird question.
Probably is.
I feel like you got it though. Is there a way? Could you actually? Is there any way to unlock somebody so that they actually trust this and do this? to the person that's like, you know, mid-40s, out of shape, thinking about retirement, they want to golf, and you're like, dude, your car, you got to think about this to actually do the thing.
Yeah.
Is there an unlock, or what is the unlock?
The unlock is in your hands. Like that's the sticking point, is that it is 100% within your capability to live a physically happy and active life. But only you are going to be the one to be able to figure out, how do I do that?
Yeah.
Like, what makes me, what do I hate the least? Like, start there. What do I hate the least? Okay, I'll do more of that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wish there was an unlock, because I see so many people, well, and I'm older now, so I see people my age who are becoming increasingly incapable of doing the things they love.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, like that's, and giving up to it, saying, well, that's just nature. That's, that's my genes. Fuck your genes. It's like, that is not your genes. Your genes are an expression of what's capable. And you're turning on the ones you want to turn on, and you're ignoring the ones that you need to turn on. That was very gospelish. Amen.
And that's why usually I don't ask like very direct questions here. It's more just like the story thing. But I think the fitness piece has been on my mind for a long time. Just,
because it should be on everyone's mind. Like it's that it should be on your mind. And if it's not on your mind, it's in the back of what you're thinking. How am I going to do this? Like, how am I going to keep going? Like you've got this is a wicked office. You got wicked things and the only way you're going to be able to make the most of them is by making the most of you.
Yeah.
And again, there's no lock. There's no lock on it, and there's no secret to it. You just got to figure it out. And it's your responsibility.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you're taking, like I take responsibility for all my life. I've fucked up so many relationships, and I have done some horrible things, and I am completely responsible for those, and I understand that those were all my choices, and I can try to undo them by changing the way I go forward. But it's on me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like no one can help you fix something, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and again, it's not my genes. It's not somebody else's fault. Like most everything that has transpired in my life, not most everything, 100% of what's transpired in my life are by the choices I've made.
Yeah.
And whether that's in relationships, or whether that's in exercise, or whether that's in eating, or whether that's in spirituality, those are my choices. And they will come back to haunt you.
Yeah.
And then you'll live happily ever after.
Dun-dun-dun. How do you have a vision? 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Are you?
I've never been a vision board kind of guy, but the older I get, the further down the line I see. And yeah, I would like to do this more country. Like I live out in the country, and there's something about nature that's just magical. Like, and again, if I can't get you into a gym, but I can take you on a 10-kilometer hike. Like I've got 8 kilometers of trail cut on the place that I live.
Cool.
And there's people that come out that it was like they want to chat. It's like, okay, well, put your boots on. Let's go chat. Let's go and just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's something fundamental about breathing fresh air and all, because I'm a hippie, about touching a tree, about being in contact with earth, about being in awe of nature. So yeah, my long-term vision is I'd like to do something, all these things take planning, and I'm a shitty planner.
At least you know it though, right?
Yeah. But I mean, I could envision something in the country, like a big old barn that part of it's a gym, part of it's sauna and cold plunge, part of it's other kind of modalities of treatment, and a lot of outdoor space.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's very interesting when you say you're a hippie and like you want to touch. And this morning I was out walking. I like to kind of get up like summertime when the sun comes up, but winter it's still dark. Get up early and then, do something. So today I went for like this 8.5 click walk. But I got to the top of the hill and turned around and the sun's coming up and I'm looking down Bow Trail.
Yeah.
And so the sun's coming up, the skyline's there, it's orange, it's like
magic. Yeah,
that's
I did it.
That's the start of the day.
Yeah. Well, again, then you're on to something, right?
For sure.
Like the mere fact that you get up and go walk in the morning, like kudos to you. Like that's a conscious decision that more people need to make.
I agree. Thanks for doing this.
It was totally my pleasure.
Like really cool.
Yeah.
From my first Pete experience, seeing you like do your thing at Pro Bodies, I'm like, what the fuck is this guy?
That guy's a weirdo. Holy shit.
People let you like. There's just there's an energy around you. People are doing their thing. So from that to this, it's really cool to actually sit down.
And likewise.
And hear your story. I end the show with one question. When I say Calgary, where's your head go?
West. To the trails. Go to the Powder Face Creek parking lot. Hundreds of kilometers of trail from that spot.
Thanks for taking the time. I'm very glad you canceled because I was like, oh, fuck, we're not going to get through anything because it's like right against the wall. So thank you very much.
The pleasure's all mine.
Appreciate it.